So I have just received my biggest plant delivery yet on the channel, and it is for a, well, mega project. Now, in theory, this plant delivery should include some of my favourite plant species, because this project, I'm still a bit on the fence about what I'm going to do with it. And, well, actually, channel members have already seen me talking about this project in one of the members' videos. It's just a quick update on this project. But it is a Highline 600 from Oase. It is a monster aquarium. And it's all singing, all dancing. It is going to be so exciting. But I ordered all my favourite plants because I thought, do you know what? I have never done a big tank with just everything I love. So I'm thinking some of my favourite aquarium classic fish to go in this aquarium. And I thought, do you know what? Why not replicate that with the tank? And why not do it where I have like 6 of one plant in one area and 6 of another plant in one area? Don't go crazy on like dotting bits and pieces about. Just go for all your favourite stuff in one big aquarium. Now, this may change because I always get offered different things and different fish, and there's currently a puffer fish that I have my eye on, and I've had my eye on for a while, and it's this close to buying it. He nearly went in the tropical pond that's beside you, but he didn't. So we'll see. But in theory, these boxes hold all my favourite aquarium plants, and I've opened them, but I've not yet looked through them all. Now, I'm really hoping I'm going to be able to fit most of them in this quarantine tank here, but I've also got 2 quarantine tanks down in this cupboard. Now, I have turned the air pump off currently that runs both of these sponge filters because it's old and noisy and I need to buy a new one. But we'll get to that, not today, because I'm not going out of the house today. I'm doing the plants today. But plants will be absolutely fine in those 2 tanks. Now, a massive thank you does go to Aquafleur for supplying me all these amazing aquarium plants. Obviously, I have visited the Aquafleur facility, to be fair, several times over the years I've been involved in the fish keeping hobby, but most recently with MD Fish Tanks, probably what, 2 years ago, a year and a half ago, I don't even know, but they are amazing aquarium plants and such a nice group of people. So yeah, thank you for sending me all these plants for this mega project. But let's get into the boxes and show you some of my favourite aquarium plants. Now, I have already opened this box, but I haven't actually gone through any of the plants yet. And the first one that I can see, which is one of my favourite floating plants, is PHYLLANTUS, or PHYLLANTUS, FLUITANS, which everyone will know as red-rooted floater. But when you buy it, generally, it will be, if I can open it, green, like so. Now, that is just because of the situation that it's growing in. Once you get it into your tank and you have it under highlighting and you give it the right setting, then generally they will go red. It does vary as to what people say makes them go red, but I found that the higher the lighting or the better quality the lighting, generally the redder it goes. But there is loads of things with nutrients and things like that. Now, I do want to be growing this in several tanks, to be honest with you. The reason I have got sent more is because everything outside of my garage door currently has a little bit of duckweed in it. Not much, but enough. And I am going to try and keep my garage a duckweed-free zone. I don't generally mind duckweed. It is a fast-growing plant. It controls nitrates and phosphates and does really well. The problem is, once it knits itself into a decent plant like this, I can't give that plant away, really, without saying, oh, there might be a bit of duckweed in there. And to be honest, that's the same with a lot of my floating plants. I have got lovely water lettuce, but there's little bits of duckweed in it. I have got some stunning Amazon frogbit, but there's a little bit of duckweed in it. So if I can give it away to people once it's grown up and not throw it away and push it out into the hobby, that's great. But I don't want to infest everyone's tank with duckweed. Now, next up is one of the funniest, well, yeah, one of the funniest looking aquatic plants, I suppose you would say. And these are Nymphoides aquatica. And they are sometimes known as banana lilies. Will you focus on that for me? But that is their tubers that they grow from. You don't want to put them fully into the substrate, because if you do, they get sort of stagnant and will break down and rot a little bit. So you sort of almost want to just place them on the surface and let them root into the aquarium, but these are going to be super, super cool if I can get them growing. There you go, there's the name if anyone wants to Google it. Hopefully that focuses on that. But they are a wicked, wicked little plant from Southern America, I believe, but not like, I think they're like southeastern USA, and then I think they are found in parts of Southern America or South America. Crikey, I'm getting my words mixed up. But yeah, super, super cool little plant. I don't know where they're going though. Actually, I think I will just sit these in this tank here because it has got some plant substrate in it that these guys will probably appreciate. Now I'm just going to let them float down. Now obviously they do throw up leaves, so you can sort of see on that one these, like, I don't know, lily shaped leaves, and they will throw those up. So it almost looks, well, it looks very sort of water lily like once it settles in. Stay down there. No, I'm going to let them settle because they don't want to stay down there for the minute. Now, another one of my favourite plants, sorry for the rustling. Well, actually, it's probably not favourite plants, it's favourite genus, group. Yeah, genus of plants. Now, these are APONOGETON, whatever you want to call them, but they grow on a bulb, and there's loads of different species. That's a flower stem that I'm going to take off there. Now, that is just the coolest. Semi-translucent leaves. They almost look like kelp. Like they grow that sort of thick and wiry. Look how good these look. And this one is Longiplumus, I think, or Longiplumulosis, if you can focus on that. Now that is such a cool plant. Now there's several different species in this group that I really like. Alvaceus, it's a really cool plant. Check it out. Check the family out, actually, because they are really, really good. They will throw up flower stems, and they do grow quite quickly, and they do sometimes need a rest period because they're a bulb plant. Some people say that when they sort of burst into life and they grow quickly and big, that you need to give them a rest period and actually take the bulb out and, you know, do what you would do essentially with a water lily in a pond. It would have like a winter rest period to sort of regain some energy. I've never found that problem. I have always just cut the flower stems off when they come up to stop them from flowering. And yeah, pretty much it. Just keep dosing nutrients and keep those sort of foods going in there. With aquarium soils, obviously that's going to be supplying a lot of nutrients down to those roots and to that bulb. Again, I ordered these and I was hoping that I was going to have this tank sort of almost, not ready, but starting, and I haven't even started it yet. So these have got to go somewhere as well. So I think these are actually going to go in with the banana plants as well, because I think that nutrient-rich substrate at the bottom of this tank will do really, really well. Actually, I forgot one of my favourite plants from this group, and I didn't order it for this tank just because it can be a little bit picky, is the Madagascan lace plant. It's an aquatic plant and it's got holes in the leaves. It looks like lace, that's where the name comes from, but that's part of that family as well, and it's such a cool plant. There's so many aponogetons. I've not looked up any of the sayings or spellings or pronunciations for these. It's just what I've been calling them for the last 20 years. But there's so many cool species in this group. They're well worth looking at. Right, now we're into our potted plants, and I can pretty much see which one is on the top. And what classic aquarium would be complete without an Amazon sword? These are the sort of true ECHINODORUS, BLEHERI, however you want to say it, Bleher. They are such a cool plant and such an aquarium classic as well. They're going to go in the pond for the minute because they can stay in the pots, and I know that the fish in the pond aren't eating these Amazon swords yet. If you haven't watched this video yet, this is my new cichlid pond in my garage. So there's a group of earth eaters in here, there's a group of angelfish in here. I'm also going to be adding some tetras, I think, to this tank or pond or whatever you want to call it. Just got to decide on which ones. Now the next plant is one of my favourite, most recent plants that have sort of hit the hobby, as it were, and I am not even going to try and say Shishamatoglottis praetoi. We'll go with that. but these are a really, really awesome plant. In the same family as Cryptocorynes and Anubias. So they have a rhizome at the bottom here somewhere that you need to keep above the substrate level to make sure they do well. But they form these like really lush green sort of mats and carpets across the bottom of your aquarium, and really, well, in my sort of findings, really hardy. The more you give it, the better it does. Feeding it, CO2, all of that stuff makes it better. But I did have this in my axolotl aquarium with, well, nothing really going in there, just axolotl poop, and it done really well. Now these ones can go just in the end of my quarantine tank here. The only things in the quarantine tank at the moment are a group of keyhole cichlids that I think might end up going into this big tank, and also a singular male Apistogramma, was it Vita or McMasteri? Can't remember now. Single male, one of those, the gold form, because the female upstairs does not like her male that I chose for her. So we've got a smaller male in here growing up, ready to go in with her. Let's see what's under the tray. What is in level 2? Oh, my word, I ordered stem plants. Okay. I ordered some Rotala. I forgot I ordered Rotala. That's absolutely fine. I remember now. It's okay. Okay, so before we get on to the Rotala, I'm going to put my grass plants away because they're smaller and easier to deal with. So this is Liliopsis, hang on, NOVEA-ZEALANDIA. Obviously from that name, they do come from New Zealand, and they're a really cool sort of short-ish growing grass plant. Faster growth with CO2 generally, slower growth without, but still a really easy plant generally to get on with. Higher lighting because it is low growing, so if you've got those deeper aquariums, you are going to want to sort of get some decent lights on there. And you can see they just grow on runners, so you end up properly with like a runnered grass aquarium carpet. You can separate these out into individual plants. So there you go. You can, well, maybe not, but you can see there's a runner there. And in theory, every one of these blades of grass is a new plant. So you could go through that entire pot and divide it up into probably what? Maybe 50, 60, maybe more blades of grass. Plant them individually and they will grow and spread out. Or you could do what I do and just chuck them in a clump and let it spread out from there. But dividing it up more does give you a natural look quicker. Now they can also go down next to my Shishamusha Glottis Praetorii, or whatever on earth it's called, and I'll line them up in a second. So I did ignore the Rotala to start off with, but this is Rotala Blood Red. Doesn't look very blood red currently, and that's because it needs higher lighting to get that. So the more decent lighting or the higher lighting you give it, generally the deeper red it will grow. If I've still got video footage of my Rotala Blood Red from the red and green tank, I will put that up. I have still got it in there. It's just covered in duckweed, and there's loads of baby shrimp in there, so I don't really want to disturb it that much. I just sort of leave it alone. But it will turn red. If you run it in lower light, generally the leaves will stay this sort of greeny colour, a bit more darker than that, but you get the idea. It will stay a duller colour in lower lighting. That was the word. Obviously, the more you give to it, CO2, fertilisers, liquid CO2, liquid fertilisers, all of that will make it grow quicker and better. And the more you trim it, as with any stem plant, and it's something that is definitely worth doing, the more you trim it, the better it will do. Above every leaf node, you could trim that, pinch it off, replant that shoot, and it will grow again. And from that cutting, or from where you cut, it will split and grow again. So the more you cut it, the better it does. With a lot of stem plants, people leave them, it's growing really, really tall, and it ends up being like 1.5 foot tall. But what happens then is that you would get I used to call it in the shop a palm tree effect. So all the leaves at the top would grow really well, everything underneath would get shadowed and would end up sort of breaking away and dying and just not doing very, very well. So the more you cut it, the more you replant the stems, the better it will do. And that's going to go down into the cupboard next door to the other tank, I think, because I don't want these to get restricted by all the plants that are going in the big tank. So this is my knife fish's old quarantine tank. And I think the Rotala Blood Red can just go and sit in the back of this tank for a little while. I might need a taller tank for it because these aquaflora plants are already nearly as tall as this tank, which is madness. Now, next up out of our box of goodies is Microthema microthymoides. I think that's how you say it. Anyway, loads of people know this as baby's tears or pearlgrass, I think a lot of people know it as. Don't confuse it with, what's the other one? Dwarf baby's tears, which is Hemianthus, whatever the second name of that one is. But yeah, they can be confused fairly often. It is a stem plant, but generally it's a little bit more smaller and compact, and with high light and lots of CO2 you can sort of get it to stay a little bit lower. These do need regular trimming though, because they will shadow themselves and then they just sort of rot at the base and float off. So you do want to keep this one really well trimmed, but I'm hoping that a few clumps of this in that tank will look quite good. To be fair, this is all dependent on what hardscape I end up picking. I've got a couple of bits of wood and I bought a piece of wood with this tank in mind. I might take you out and show you it in a minute because it's currently in the garden at the end of the pond. But I still don't quite know on the scape. I'm just thinking maybe some big rocks with some big plant islands. And like I said, I want to try and keep it so that the plant islands are big. And I'm hoping I've got some crypts down in the other box because I almost want these, like, I don't know, 20, 30 centimetre clumps of the same plant and maybe only 6 to 8 species. Maybe more. It's hard because it's been a long time since I've done a 600 litre aquarium. I think it's like nearly 6 foot long, 2 foot by 2 foot sort of dimensions. And it's been a long time since I scaped something like that. So yeah, I'm going to play it around and see what I do. But I'm hoping that lots of little plants, or not little plants, but lots of big groups of little plants will work really, really well. We've also got Oase's new lighting on there, which is motion control lighting. And I haven't even played with that yet, but I am told it is super bright. So hopefully all these plants will quite like it. I will sort these out properly later. But for the minute, I'm just gonna be chucking these in because, well, I wanna get them in water before they start drying out. To be fair, I say that, you know, they will survive just sort of damp and humid in these containers for days. But yeah, I want to get them settled and I want to start evaluating what I've got. So I believe that that is that box finished. Huh. Next box. So what do we have down here? It should be a load more potted plants. Oh yeah, the crypts are here. So it looks like this top shelf is 2, 3, 4. Undulatus, Castleman, PETCHII and Novelli. 3 different types of crypt. Now crypts are such a lush little plant. So we have got PETCHII, Novelli and Undulatus Castleman. I'm hoping that that will focus on that, but if it doesn't, I'll be putting all these plant names in the description. If you do find that there is no plant names in the description, shout at me in the comments because I will have forgotten I said it in this video and I won't have put it in the description. So yeah, do shout at me. But crypts are such a cool plant, and I picked these 3, and there might be a couple more in here, because they look slightly different once they are mature. And I'm hoping that, again, if I can do one big clump of like Crypt Novelli and then have another big clump of maybe like the PETCHII, it will look really striking with those different plants in big swaths and big clumps. I can hear that Quinn's just come home from school, so I think he's going to break in through the door any second. I'm in the fish room, mate. Open the door. You can't open the door? No. He can open the door. He regularly breaks in here to look at the fish. Do you want me to open the door? Yeah. Okay, hang on. Dad. Yes, mate. Look. Wow.
How can I get over?
What, you want to get over the box, do you? Yeah. Well, I'm just filming a video. Do you want to show them your flowers? Camera's here. Camera's here. Look, you've got your hat on, you can't see. that's behind the camera. You need to come in front of the camera if you want to show them your plants. Wow, so you've picked some flowers from Granny's garden, have you? That's a bit close. Look, here you go, let me show you. So we've got some dandelions, some rock hyacinths and some daisies. Very cool. I'm just putting some plants away. Do you want to help me, or are you going to go and do something else? Thank you so much. Are they for me?
Yeah.
Ah, superstar. High five. Fist bump.
Boom.
Noggin. Bonk.
Sorry, were you filming?
I'm still filming, but...
Oh, sorry.
Should we go... They are wet. They're aquarium plants. Should we go put these in a vase and I'll finish my video off in a minute? Yeah? Say bye to everyone on the camera.
Bye.
Good lad. Oh, now the dogs have joined us. Right, I'm going to go sort this out and then I'll come back and finish the unboxing. We were talking about the crypts. Now, one thing about crypts is they do like to melt. As soon as you change them from water parameter to water parameter, or you buy them from a shop, or you get them sent to you, they do like to melt. So do not worry if most of your leaves disappear, they will regrow. Some people do go through it and just chop all of the leaves off completely. No leaves left at all, and they let all the new growth come through. I like it to look a little bit planty, and I just let them sort of melt, because sometimes they don't always melt. A lot of the Aquaflow ones are actually grown in really, really damp, sort of humid environments. So actually I have quite a good conversion rate with these where they don't actually melt, but that's a lot of crypts to find some space for. So I think we will just bundle all of these into this tank. That's Novelli, and try to keep them a little bit separate, so I can tell which ones are which. I did try, as I say, to pick the sort of most, I don't know, different ones from each other. And I'm hoping that I can do that when I get them in the tank. One more. And I'm stuck to the box. And then lastly, the Undulatus Castleman. There we go. Right, I'll tidy them up in a sec. Next layer. I actually did have quite a few problems with the last batch of crypts that I moved from my quarantine tank up to a display tank, because I had them, and I didn't really think about it, running in the quarantine tank at 27 degrees because I was actually treating some fish, and then I moved all my crypts up to a tank that was 22, and a lot of them did melt. Awesome. I've got 2 more species of crypts. We've got BECKETTII and we've got AMICORUM. This is a really dainty sort of small one. This one gets these really cool sort of red stems to it, and look at them. Like, this one gets big. This one can get like 25, 30 centimeters. Yeah, 25 centimeters tall, and the AMICORUM stays smaller. So if I can sort of position them one behind the other, that'll look awesome. And then we've got some Anubias, which I'll have to get my Anubias tub down for. As you can see, I've already tidied up the crypts that I put in there just a minute ago off camera, because you don't need to see me lining up all these plants like little soldiers, do you? I always found it looked great in a shop when you sort of lined up all of the plants so that they were all like in little rows, labels facing forward. Just a really nice way to shop them. And then our little one, our AMICORUM, you can go next to them. These shouldn't need to spend that long in this tank, I'm hoping. Only a week or so, and then we should be able to get them into the main tank. Throughout this video, do excuse the mess that you see in the background, but just had to empty a load of stuff from another room, and it's been a bit crazy. And I still haven't fixed these lights to the top of these tubs. Put that down there. Now this is where I keep generally my Anubiases, my BUCEPHALANDRAs, my Java ferns. All of those types of epiphyte plants live in these tubs without water. To be fair, I will have you as well. I've just had a thought. That Schistomatus glottis thing, Protol, whatever you want to say, however you want to call it. I've just had a thought. That would probably do well in these tubs, I reckon. Now I do, get that out of the way before I crush it. Now I do have a few Anubiases left over and some BUCEPHALANDRAs. So Again, I'm not going to use all of these in this futurescape, but just a few. So I've got loads of Anubias-NANA still kicking about, which is like the sort of smaller one. So they'll be ready to go in this tank. But these ones that I've just got are the BARTERI version. So these guys are just a little bit chunkier. Look how good they look. So again, it just gives me some different heights, some different leaf shapes and sizes. Should make the tank look really sort of, well, different. And I'm really thinking this sort of extra large, proper community tank, and giving all of you guys and girls the option to help me pick what fish go in here. You know, if we do a vote, like, let's get some lemon tetras, x-ray tetras, or emperor tetras, and you can all vote to what fish go in there. And the same with like Corydoras and sucker mouth catfish. You can have a say in this extra large community tank. Right, that's those ones out of the way. Let's see what's in the bottom of this box. I can't get in it. There we go. So, yes, more stem plants, but these are HYGROPHILA ROSAE Australis, and they come with these really cool variegations. Also some PINNATIFIDA and some HYDROCOTYLE. Now I'm 100% going to need to set up a new tank for these. Where's my test kit normally live? I can go over there. So I think I'm just going to utilise this tank quickly. I can fill this tank up with water, chuck a light over the top. They'll be absolutely fine in there. They'd probably be fine with no water and just keep them wet, but I really want these stem plants to look their best when they go in this tank. All my random jugs and vases that I was doing projects in, I've had to shut most of them down because I'm trying to bring them all into the garage. Bit of bogwood. Oh, that's all my moss stickers, look. I had to hide these from Quinn. These are from Moss UK. He sent me some glue and stuff recently. And a poster and, yeah, some cool things. But I had to hide all of these awesome stickers from Quinn because he was going to stick them in his book. And they're my stickers. Look how shiny that one is. Anyway, let's go hide them again. Somewhere he can't reach. Right, that's the bracket for the filter, which we probably maybe will need. So the first stem plant we've got going in is this HYGROPHILA PINNATIFIDA, which is like this ferny sort of looking one. That's the name there if you want to see it online. But these you can actually grow pretty much like epiphytes. So if you put them onto wood and things like that, they'll actually do absolutely fine and grow sort of, yeah, as a stem plant on wood, which is quite cool. Now, we'll find a light for this later, but these ones can just sit back there. I'm sure I've got a spare spotlight or something to go on here. The next one's up that we've got is this HYDROCOTYLE LEUCOCEPHALA. Yeah, we'll go with that. But these have these big round leaves. Again, a very sort of stem planty growing plant, but you can actually get this to grow out of the water and grow these runners over the top of the tank. You can see where it's throwing down roots there. So again, if I trimmed it there, replanted that little shoot, that would root. But again, I just love the way that these look like sort of, well, underwater water lilies, but are way easier to keep. Those ones can just sit back in there for the minute. And then the last stem plant is this HYGROPHILA ROSAE Australis, which is a really cool plant because very much like polysperma, which you'll have seen a bundle of that in the top of the other tank. It's the one that I should be throwing away, but I'm not. This one get these little sort of variegated tips. And if you get it under intense lighting, those tips go pink and look amazing. So you can see where they're all bent over from being in the box, but they're going to be quite tall already once they settle in. And again, they can just go in here for the minute, and I'll fill this up with some water in a bit. Now, next up in the box is some other Amazon swords. So this is ECHINODORUS ROSAE. Now, there's loads of different cultivars or species, I guess you would say, of Echinodorus. I question how I say all these names now that I'm on the internet. It's really bad. But yeah, there's loads of different species. And we've also got ECHINODORUS MARTII, which is this really lime green, slightly crinkled leaf version. Now, both of these are going to get big. MARTII, I think 30 centimetres it says on the label. ROSAE can get to 50 centimetres tall, so that is going to be an amazing background Amazon sword. And it is well worth looking through because you can see the new leaves on this one come out this beautiful, like, well, rose colour as the name would suggest. So they're going to be two really wicked species to go in this aquarium. I just found the AI blade that I was using to scape in the oddball aquarium that my knife fish lives in now. There we go, we can actually see what we're doing. That might actually be the light just to run on here, that's quite nice. So I think we'll chuck the Amazon swords in here as well, because they shouldn't bother too much with these stem plants, and the stem plants should just overgrow them if they want to. 1, 2, and 3. There we go. And then the MARTII or MARTII, or however you want to say it, the crinkly leafed ECHINODORUS. They can all go there. It's going to be a lot of plants, but I want this tank to be a proper showstopper. Tons of plants, tons of hardscape, and tons of cool community fish. Now, what you also might have spotted in that box is the ELEOCHARIS, which is a hairgrass. There's a few different species of this, and some of them get taller, some of them get shorter. This is ACICULARIS. Yeah, that sounds about right, doesn't it? It's a bit of a taller one. Gets to, like, you know, 15, maybe 20 centimetres maximum. I think more 50. Well, actually, it says on the label there, if I clear that plant away, 15 centimetres it says on the label. So, yeah, really cool sort of mid-ground hairgrass plant. Grows on runners. Really cool. And I think, again, just adds another leaf shape to that tank. I'll have to be careful that the fish I choose don't nibble on it. But that will be a cool, generally easy-growing plant to put in this tank. Actually, just because I know someone will ask about it, this is the crinkled leaf onion plant that I've had for a few weeks, maybe months, growing on. Was for one project. That project has been put on the back burner because I can't find the fish I want. So this one might end up going into this tank as well. I've got 6 bulbs, so they should be ideal. And I can also hear Quinn shouting in the background for some reason. So the last plant in the box is actually one of quite a funny, not funny, it's not funny at all, is it? But it's ECHINODORUS africanus. I don't know if you can see that label there. Grows quite tall, 40, 30 centimetres. Has these really cool sort of, I don't know, oval, eyelet-shaped leaves. Really nice plant. But the name Africanus would obviously suggest that it comes from Africa, when it doesn't. I'm pretty sure all ECHINODORUS species come from South America or Central and South America. I don't think any of them come from Africanus. And I remember reading a bit of confusion about this plant. It's quite a good one though, because this one does well in discus tanks. You can run it like up to 30 degrees, no problems at all really, and it grows quite well. So I think that'll be quite a nice, again, different leaf shape, no real colour to it. Well, I say colour, it comes out green, but no reds, no oranges, just that really lime green. So a group of them in the back will look amazing. And we'll sort that last one out in a second. Do you know what? I actually think I am going to put the Africanus in this pond because I think they will do quite well under these Interpet LEDs that I've got on here, as long as I've got space. Might block off the window a little bit for me, but that's fine. It's only a temporary thing. I just need places to store my plants until my tank is ready. Now the last plant in here is another crypt. And it's one that I have never kept before, but I'm looking forward to keeping, which is Cryptocoryne spiralis. Comes up in these really tall leaves. The name, I don't know if it suggests that it spirals. I've not seen many pictures. It sort of twists a little bit, but I would assume the name does lend itself to the spiral shape of the leaves. But yeah, really cool, really tight knit, really small leaves, which I'm looking forward to, again, having a big clump of those growing in this tank. Now luckily it seems like I've got one space left to put some plants in this tank. This is gonna look epic. Where's my other 3? I've left them in the box. There we go. Right. 1, 2, 3, and 3, 4, 6. I knew what I meant. Now, one plant I have left out of this order is Java Fern. It is normally one of my go-to favourite plants. Really tough, really hardy, generally doesn't get eaten by a lot of fish, tolerates a wide range of parameters. It's a great plant. Obviously the Latin name, or scientific name, is Microsorium pteropus, spelt with a P at the front. Pteropus. I'm assuming it's pteropus, like pterodactyl. Anyway, what was I saying? Java Fern, one of my favourite plants, yeah. The problem I've had with it recently at home is that I suck at growing it, to be honest with you. It's one of my hardest plants to grow currently in the house. I do have a low pH here, I do have a non-existent hardness, so I think it's got something to do with that. But I have tested a few in the tank behind you. Hang on, I'll show you. So this tank here is my knifefish aquarium. It's a black ghost knifefish that lives in here. I did just see him disappear behind that piece of wood. But these Java Ferns have been in here several weeks now and are doing mostly okay. We've got a little bit of brown coming up on this leaf, but normally the leaves just decrease, disappear and melt in my aquariums. Now, I'm thinking that the elderly stone I used in here will be releasing a little bit of minerals, hopefully keeping the pH up slightly. And I have been using a bit more plant food in here. Obviously, the little Anubiases are doing absolutely fine. It is just the Java Ferns that I normally struggle with. Where's my knifefish gone? I don't know where he... Shall I feed him so you guys can see him? If you haven't seen the build video for this, it is on the channel somewhere, and it is just a grow-on tank for our knifefish. Let me go and find some pellets. Actually, they're right here beside my tank. So I give him a mixture of different foods. This is the cichlid red from NT Labs. This might be quite tricky to do with one hand. But yeah, he has been eating this stuff really, really well. Let's see. I might have to give him a couple of minutes to come out for it. But I do want to show him off because he's doing so well. Right, let him get the scent and then I'll bring you back so I can show you him. There we go. So we gave him a couple of minutes and now he is out and about feeding. Look how good he looks. He loves this cichlid food. Look. Nom, 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 nom. So cool. I do feed him a mixture of like bloodworm and brine shrimp and yeah, those little pellets, catfish pellets. He eats just about everything now. So he might end up going into the cichlid pond because I was going to put him in this big new tank, but I'm worried that he would like to nibble the small tetras because he is going to get like, well, probably half the length of this aquarium once he is fully grown. It's going to take him a while, but he will get there. But anyway, Java Ferns are doing good in this tank. Maybe I just need to look at putting some buffers in the water if I want to run Java Ferns. And then lastly, the other plant that I have kept back in preparation for this tank are a few different species of BUCEPHALANDRA. Quite an expensive plant when it comes to buying it, and obviously quite small, as you can see there, but so hardy and so just a brilliant, easy to grow, low light. You can stick it on a bit of wood. It is absolutely ideal. So there will be a few of those going in as well, alongside parts of the collection of other plants. So let me know in the comments what plants are your favourites, because I think I've covered most bases for like general classic, very posh. I've covered the bases of generally like all of the classic aquarium plants to go in this tank. Losing the will to speak here, it's really struggling. My fish house, now it's getting warmer, is actually running at 25 degrees solidly. I've got the heating set so that it runs that hot, and it's quite warm filming in here, and you're more... your voice and your talking starts to go to mush. It's not ideal. But yeah, I have covered pretty much all the aquarium classics, some stem plants. Yes, okay, there's a few sort of variations and new style ones, but other than going for like the true old-fashioned pondweed like Alodia or something like that, I think I've got a good mix of plants. But let me know in the comments if there's any other plants you'd like to see in this new fancy big smashing not smashing, that's the wrong word to use, amazing community aquarium. And yeah, let me know what fish you want to see as well. You know, I'm interested to hear. I think massive community tank, weeks and weeks of like, we'll add, I don't know, 15 or 20 of this and 15 or 20 of that, and then we'll leave it a few weeks and we'll build a community tank together. I'm really, really looking forward to interacting with you all and finding out what your favourite fish are, or even what fish you deem as aquarium classics. Yeah, I think it's going to be amazing. Really looking forward to it. I better clean up, and I've just been beckoned for dinner. So yeah, I think cleaning up can wait. I'll have some food, and then I'll come back into the fish room and tidy this mess up. Nearly fell over. I'll see you in the next one.